Have you ever been sitting at your desk and suddenly you are just so excited? And that's what happened to me. I'm sitting at my desk and I just got so excited. I've been working on something for a very, very, very long time. And I just had to get out there and just share it. So here I am sharing it with you, something super excited, and the content that I'm gonna talk to you about right here, totally unannounced, totally not just nothing that I send out an email about. It's going to be so crucial to your success. So I'm going to share it here, then I'll promote it later on as well. But here's the backstory. A couple years ago, there I was working in corporate America, doing some great things, loving life, enjoying myself with my family up in the Seattle, Washington area. I'd been coaching on the side for a period of time. You know, those side jobs that you do that are actually not just for money, it's something that you enjoy doing. Well, that's what I was doing. I was just enjoying life. I was enjoying myself, and I loved helping people get better in their communication. And along that time, someone named Rachel Richards came along, and she's the best-selling author of a couple books. She's doing amazing, retired at 27 years old. She was invited to a university, and she recruited me. And she said, Mike, would you help me communicate better? Would you help me improve my communication? So we jump on and I'm helping her out. I'm working with her to improve her communication. And she's talking about this book that she had written. And I said, well, how'd you go about writing a book and publishing a book? And she told me about the whole process. She writes about it in her own books. The second one that she wrote was called Passive Income Aggressive Retirement. And so she's talking about this and I'm listening going, yeah. And I said, I could do that. I have stuff that would be helpful to people. And so I decided that I was going to write a book. Maybe you've thought, hey, you should write a book. And I think if you got something you want to share, then you should write a book. And I had all these ideas on what it meant to speak with no fear and how to speak with confidence. Think about it like this. You have dirty clothes and you got to take those off, and then you got to put on clean clothes. That's how confidence and communication is. You got this dirty clothes of insecurity, you need to take that off, and then you want to put on the clean clothes of confidence. So in 2019, I wrote my very first book, and I went through a whole process through self-publishing school, shared that actually on my official YouTube recorded, produced videos, and I went through Chandler Bolt's book, published. It was a lot of fun, learned a lot, got a coach, all that kind of stuff. Went on to podcasts and just learned a whole bunch about how to write a book. And I wrote a book, published a book in less than 90 days, and the book took off. Within a few months, it had something like 100 reviews. And I quite literally had people calling me from around the world. I remember one day I was just driving my car and my cell phone was attached to the book. And somebody says, I'd like to talk to Mike Acker. And I said, this is Mike Acker. This is my cell phone, right? And he says, what? The man? And I was like, yeah, well, I mean, I'm a man and my name is Mike Acker. And so he said, I read your book and it was life-changing. Now, I realized that some people did not think it was life-changing and some people have left some horrible reviews. But overall, there was some incredible reviews and people saying things on Twitter and on Instagram, people picking it up and saying, I was able to do this thanks to Speak with No Fear by Mike Acker. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. I knew it was helpful because I've been able to work through this process and help people, but I didn't know it was that helpful. And then the book got picked up on Forbes.com, became now it's the 5th top rated book or something like that in communication. And it's got 700 ratings. The first edition, wrote the second edition, wrote a workbook that goes along with it. But that wasn't even the main thing I wanted to share with people. So here's this book that I wrote that's getting all this traction, but it wasn't the thing that I really thought this will help people build confidence. I knew that there needed to be some taking off of the dirty clothes. And that's what this book is helping people do. Take off the dirty clothes of insecurity. Like if you're experiencing imposter syndrome, if you're having a hard time climbing the corporate ladder, if you're having a hard time with sales and feeling like every time you sell, you're getting rejected, and if you're having a hard time in relationships, and you have some insecurities and you need to take off that dirty clothes. And so there's all kinds of strategies in here about that. But think about it. If you're going to go out to something special and you have dirty clothes on, it's not just enough to take off the dirty clothes. Like then you're just naked. And I don't want you just to be naked, right? I want you to be fully clothed in confidence. So over the last couple years since I wrote that book, I've been refining some ideas. I wrote some other books like, yay, connect their emotional intelligence. Hey, Tim, good to see you, man. Hey, thanks for joining. That's fun. I'm glad you popped on. So I wrote this book and then Lead with No Fear. And I wrote Speak and Meet Virtually. So I've been processing this, but the entire time I had this thing going on behind the scenes that I was working on. And I would work on it with my clients. And I started a course and I work on it with my course and really identify three sources. So three aspects of clothing that you need to wear for you to be dressed with confidence. And so the book that is coming out in April is all about that. Let me briefly walk people through it right here, and you can check this out and you can get a little glimpse of where we're going. So if you think about it like a stool, if you want to sit down and you want to sit down on a stool, you want to make sure that that stool is very secure. If you're going to put your weight on it, you want to make sure it doesn't fall. In fact, if you're not just going to put your weight, but you're going to put a family member's weight or a loved grandma or a little baby, you want to make sure that that stool is going to hold up. Now, in this stool of confidence, you need three different legs. Three different legs make up really the way that the structure, the reinforcement, the foundation of the stool. So there's going to be three different legs. Now, if you have these three legs, but they're not all attached, or they're just sort of screwed in, or they're weak, or the termites have rotted them, or whatever. If you have these, and everybody has them to some degree, but they're not firmly attached and strongly attached, and they're not strong themselves, then what's going to happen when you communicate to other people in large groups or the higher ups or your clients or whoever it might be that you struggle in front of, then what's going to happen is you're going to be on shaky confidence. You're not going to have the confidence that you have. There are three legs to the stool. The first one's going to be your speaker identity. Now, when I talk with people, I get a chance to work with some incredible people. So some of my clients, I'm sure, will check this out later. And as you are checking this out, thank you to all my incredible clients and audiences that I get to speak to. You're amazing. And I'm so amazed that I get to speak to these people in this professional realm and this area over here, business entrepreneur, and they've done this, and this doctor over here, and just some incredible people. And as I work with them, they have this very strong confidence in and of themselves. They're great at their job. They're great with their friends. They're great in their family life. But when they get on stage, they fall apart. And what happens? Even though they have a very secure confidence over here, when they get over here in front of people, the confidence falls apart. Why is that? One of the three different essentials, one of the three different legs of confidence communication is your speaker identity. It's how you see yourself that people see you. Now, I teach a lot about this in my courses, and I've done a lot of one-on-one coaching and a lot of conferences on this, but suffice to say right here, it is coming up in my book, and I'm talking about how you can work on your speaker identity, the way that you see yourself, that people see yourself. Yeah, I know that's a little bit odd. Wait a minute, what are you saying right there? See, you have a way you see yourself over here, but when you get out in front of other people, there's a way you see yourself through the way that people see yourself, or the way that you think people see yourself. And all of a sudden, there's a lot of dissonance that happens. I go into this a whole bunch in the book, but I'm super excited to help you out with it. And a lot of times that people suffer with imposter syndrome, it is this speaker identity issue, just whatever else they're doing. It's they're in front of people, or performance syndrome. It's their nervousness there. I'm just super excited about that. Okay. Then the second part, the second leg of the stool. Can you see how excited I am? Normally, when I do these recordings, I think about my material a little bit, I pace it out, but I just had to get out there and share this with you. So the second thing is going to be your messaging. And ultimately, when you are doing messaging, it's divided into two different realms. Over here on the right, my right, it's going to be your impromptu speaking. And over here on the left, it's your prepared speaking. And so you want to, sometimes people are fantastic in their prepared speaking, but they're not good on their impromptu speaking, or vice versa. They're great in one, not great in the other. Then you also have two different hemispheres. You got the northern hemisphere, the southern hemisphere. So you think about it like a quadrant. And up here's how I understand it and how you're giving it to other people? And are you putting it out there in a way they can understand it? So messaging is divided into this quadrant of, do I understand it? Do they understand it? Or is there people over here that I can do it when I'm impromptu or prepared? And that's all of what's messaging. It's what you're saying. It's the content you're delivering. And a lot of people lack confidence there, or they don't know if they should be confident in what they're saying, or they have some kind of huge obstacle in their messaging that they get stuck and they freeze when they're impromptu, or they over prepare in their preparation and they don't prepare in a way that makes sense. And they're going through massive amount of bullets instead of buckets, which is something I talk about. Or they just ramble and go on and on and on. And what you need to do in terms of messaging is find systems. So in the book, I write in a whole bunch of systems for impromptu speaking, for prepared speaking, to stop rambling. And it's just, I'm really excited about it. Okay, the third leg of confidence is your skills. And skills, well, that makes the most amount of sense. I use this analogy. There's some guys in my neighborhood who on Saturday mornings go out and play football, and they've invited me before, and I'm like, oh, okay, the guys around my age, we're in the 40s playing football, flag football. And yet I never grew up playing football, so football isn't something I feel super confident in because I don't really have football skills. But you get me into soccer, I feel great. I've done some soccer games with other adults, and this is a lot of fun. And I get out there, and even if they're younger than me or they're older than me, I feel pretty good because I know the skills. And I see other people, they don't feel as confident on the soccer field because they don't have the skills, just like I don't in football. And all that to say is this: when you have more skills, then you have more confidence. So in the book, I go through some very specific skills that you can do in public speaking. Now, a lot of books are aimed at just skills. And this is what you should do. This is what you should do. This is what you should do. Great. And I think there's a great place for that. I wanted to take it a little bit different. So I give the heart behind the skills, and I kind of group skills together in some nonverbal categories for your vocal nonverbal and your physical nonverbals as well. Love it. It's going to be a lot of fun. This is the whole framework for confidence communication. I believe in this so much that I'm already working on how to take this and bring it into the universities and really make it something that's going to help college students, because it's that practical, it's that foundational. If you get all three of these legs in communication, if you work on them, if you get them solid, then you, like the clients that I get to work with, like the workshops I get to lead, you will have this tremendous confidence in your communication. It will be life-changing. And when you're up in front of people, you're not going to be worried about what people are thinking about you. You're not going to be worried about, do you fit in? Are you as good as somebody else? Or whatever worries and thoughts are going through you, you're going to be very firm, very confident, very sure. That's what's coming up in April. So I'm going to leave a link to a Facebook group that I created for my first book, and I'm going to leave it in here. So if you want to jump in, and even if you just somehow found this while I was going live, or you're watching the replay afterwards, and you want to be a part of this book, then here's what I'm going to ask. I'm going to ask you to be a part of, I'll give you a summary of the upcoming book, and you can check it out, read it. I'll give you the date where I'm going to secretly put it on to Amazon so you can download it and you can then review it within a few days as a reader, not as a friend, if you know me, but really as a reader. And I believe, really, here's my commitment to you. This is life transformational. This is key core stuff. And this is going to take wherever you are in your communication with whoever you need to communicate, and it's going to take it to the next level. That's why I jumped on and just did this spur of the moment recording right here and went live on YouTube. So thank you so much for checking this out. I'm super excited. If you can't tell already, I'm super excited. And to my friend Tim Ritter, who saw me right there as I was going live, thank you, buddy, for joining. I appreciate it. All right. Hey, next time it'll be pre-recorded, and I'll get back to my training. But today, man, this is just so fun sharing my excitement over pouring with you. Have an incredible day and sign up for the launch group.